We have a 1996 Land Rover Discovery. We're going to replace the radiator. This radiator was replaced, you can see here, August of 23. Nice 4-core solid aluminum, and I thought it was a great install. And I usually expect a radiator to last about 10 years up here in New England. This one didn't. Now, this one has a rather odd leak. You can see the antifreeze at the bottom there. Right now the engine's cold. It's been sitting overnight. Now, let's see if I can zoom in. It's very difficult to see, except when it's hot. I do have a photo and I'll post that. But the joint between the tube and the tank is leaking at almost every single tube. I say almost. And it only leaks when it's hot. I can pressurize this right now and it won't leak. Now whenever you get very tiny cracks in your components, they'll open up when it gets hot and they'll close up when it gets cold. Sometimes, like in this case, the cracks will be so small they will close up tight enough to seal. So you'll go crazy trying to find out where your leaks are. But I've been chasing this leak for probably a month because I could smell it, I could never see it. And I'll post that picture right now. So here we have our new radiator. Prior to installation, check all your fittings, check your threads, make sure they're in good condition. Then put a little bit of lubricant on the inside, a little bit of lubricant on the outside threads so that your fittings screw on nicely, and on the inside so that your O-ring seals and so that it slides in and doesn't tear. On all of your hose connections, both large and small, put a small smear of a lubricant such as Vaseline petroleum jelly. And this should be good to go. A little piece of dirt there. But, so let's put this in. The oil cooler lines have a bracket. Keeps them together. That keeps the ends from breaking off during vibration. So what you want to do, in order to make these easier to install onto the radiator, we want to remove that. It's a 10mm nut. You don't have to take the nut off. You can loosen it, and then that'll flip apart and fall down on the floor and get lost for a week. But then you can find it and put it back on. Alright, here's your upper oil cooling line. We have our O-ring installed. It's an R05. That's what I'm using. And I want to give you a little caution about these lines. Because you have a bit of a nipple on here, these lines are a little easier to install than ones that are just flush. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that it fits in there and that it is straight. You should be able to thread this fitting on. Okay, that's not straight because the fitting won't go on by hand. So I'm pushing the radiator forward just a little bit, giving it a little wiggle. And we should be able to put this on with fingers. There we go. If you can't put it on finger tight, then you're not lined up. Look at that. Okay, now, I've been doing this for 40 years, so I made it look easy. But take your time. Never rush metal fittings. So there we go. Now this fitting here, that is 24mm. See if I can get that. Ta-da! Nope. Okay. All right, that's 24mm. Now, never tighten it without a backup wrench. And a backup wrench is a wrench that is holding the fitting that you're screwing to, you're tightening to. So I'm going to put a backup wrench. I'll figure it out in a minute. There we go. So I'm actually holding that, and I'm going to put counter force. Because otherwise I will tear this fitting out of the radiator. I'm trying to get around the camera here. I'm not having much luck. Okay, I'm going to hold. There we go. So I can move this fitting and tighten it. So long as I'm providing counterforce on the radiator. Because otherwise, that plastic tank will just get torn apart. It's too tough to do this with the camera in the way, so I'm going to finish it up in just a second, off camera. To finish it up, I just want to show you. Oh, went out of focus. Let's go focus, guys. Plastic tank. This fitting here is held in with this yellow nut. That nut has to be held to counter the force, twisting force you're putting on this fitting here for this pipe. Otherwise it's going to rip it right out, and well, you're going to need another radiator. Or if you can get your hands on another tank and find someone to put it in, I doubt that'll happen. So make sure you use a backup wrench. So before I tighten up the fittings, I got to get this little bracket back on there. And the two lines here and here are very close together. And keeping these nuts just a little loose gives me a little bit of wiggle room. So I will use that wiggle room. Usually takes like 3 hands to put this together. But if you work at it long enough, just take your time. You'll get it back together. Here's a good view. So what I did is I loosened the nut until the very last thread, so it's still together and it's not going to fall apart. Because inevitably, that little nut will fall somewhere deep inside the vehicle. Now, at first, it looks like the bracket's too small because it's far away. So what I'm going to do, see if I can get this, there we go. So I'm going to rotate this, there we are. As I rotate it, they come closer together. Now I can use this finger down here, this one, is up against the head of the bolt. And my right finger, my right hand, this one here, the longest one, it's the middle finger, I'm rotating the nut. Now it is together enough to where the two are joined. Now I'm going to leave that loose so that I can tighten up the fittings on the radiator. That's the most important thing. But now that that's in a nice position, look at all this room I got between the compressor and the nut. I can use, maybe not, okay, I can use a wrench. I'll get in here with a box end wrench. I'll put my finger on the other side and I'll tighten it up. And then once it's snug, I'll put a box end wrench on the other side and make it nice and tight. And that will be how we get that little bracket on. I made this part of the video specifically for the bracket because that's a very frustrating thing, and I see a lot of vehicles with brackets missing. The owners usually say, yeah, I got that in the back seat. So this is actually very critical because these lines will vibrate and then they will crack right up at the radiator, and you don't want that. This provides a lot of strength to the whole system. So another note, see this bracket right here? I can actually get my finger almost in between them. But there's a decent amount of space. There's about a 1/4 inch of space between the pipe and the bracket. Don't let these touch. You'll regret it, because this bracket will cut through there in about a week. These are aluminum, that's steel. So I dug in my drawer and I found my angle head wrenches. And I'm going to use this one. Where is it? There it is. To get right on that backup nut. That's a beautiful fit. I'm not going to do it on camera because there's no room for the camera and my hands. The radiator is in. Everything tightened up. And you can see I washed it down with a little soapy water down there. And what you want to do is you want to keep the radiator shroud off of it at first. You see, all these pulleys will stay on without the fan. And you want to fire it up, and you want to look at your fittings on both sides of the radiator, and you want to see if you are leaking any fluids. Now this side is transmission, and this side, oops, some light would be nice. This side's oil, so it's all washed down. That way we don't have any confusion with any of the spilt fluids during the changing operation. Okay, wipe everything off, and that way you want to fire it up. Wait till you have good oil pressure and run it through the gears. It's an automatic transmission, so that would be, you know, park, reverse, neutral drive, and the low gears, and then back up. And then come on under here to see if you have any leaks. And like I said, it's okay to run it without the fan, because this pulley is bolted to the water pump. If something bad happens because you don't have the fan on there, then you have something additionally wrong. And it's always a perfect time to fix it when you're in the shop, right? So we got our radiator in. It's all hooked up. And we put about 90% of the antifreeze in there. I say 90% because no matter how full you think you got it, you got to warm up the truck and let all the air get out, because there's probably going to be some air up in here, up in your hose. Now the Rovers have a nice bleeder fitting right here, so unscrew this and pour your antifreeze in there. And it's worth your while to go get one of these antifreeze filler uppers, and that lets you get it in there easily. It doesn't make a mess. Personally, I always recommend a lever cap, because if for some reason there's pressure in the system, you can let it out, and then you can service it as needed, even when it's hot. But I never recommend opening a hot cooling system, because it will burn the skin off your face. So after you're all topped up, then get your handy dandy pressure tester and hook it up, pressure test it, start cleaning, bring it up to the right spec. You know, for this truck it's 16 pounds. There we go. So bring it up to 16 and let it sit there. That's the blue arrow. And go clean your tools, clean up, and then give it a few minutes to see if it drops any. I would allow it to drop half a pound in total, and that's only because the radiator hoses and the heater hoses sometimes expand just a little bit, and also air is compressible. So after you're sure you have no leaks, if you have leaks, fix them. Cap up the system, put it all together, and well, before you cap it, make sure you topped up, and then sit here and run it, and make sure you go through at least one heat cycle where it warms up, thermostat opens up, circulates around, and then shut her down, and enjoy your Rover. Have a good day. Like and subscribe, or I'll set this fella loose in your garage.